Hello and welcome to episode 142 of Daryl Show Your Work. All right, so now that I've gone through how to manually enumerate a compromised Windows host and show how to enumerate a Windows host using a more automated process, I'm going to move on to now how do we do those same things with a compromised Linux host. All right, so these next sets of videos is going to go just like the first set, where I'm going to be going through in about 3 or 4 videos and showing how to enumerate a set of details about our compromised system, and showing how to enumerate those things manually. All right, and then on the video to end that series, I'm going to show how to enumerate those same specifications in a more automated way. All right, so since I'm going to be running through the whole compromise of a system, getting us in, and then doing the enumeration, I'm gonna preface this video with my usual disclaimer by saying that this is for ethical research and educational purposes only. Any sort of malicious activity that may directly or indirectly come from someone watching this video, I do not take responsibility for, nor do I condone. All right, so the things that we're going to be looking for is very similar to what we're going to be looking for, what we were looking for with the Windows enumeration. All right, and we're going to be basically looking for in this video system details or system properties. All right, so that includes the host name, operating system distribution name, and the release version, the kernel version, the architecture, CPU information, disk information, any mounted drives, and installed software packages and software. All right, and again, as I said previously, these things are important because these are the type of specifications or details that can potentially enable me to escalate my privileges. All right, so to start off, I'm going to start off with some discovery here. I'm going to run us through this whole thing here, so including discovery. So I'm first going to do an ifconfig to find out what my IP address is. All right, so we can see that's 192.38.19.2. So I'm going to copy that. All right, and I'm going to conduct a ping sweep of my local networks here to see who else is up and running. And that's going to allow me to choose my target host. All right, so I'm just giving it to my decider address here, and the method I'm going to use to do a ping sweep is using fping. All right, so we see that host 1, 2, and 3 is up, 1 being the gateway, 2 being myself, and 3 being our unlucky target. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to jump right into the Metasploit framework, because even though I'm going to be manually showing us how to enumerate a target host, but I have to first compromise that target host, and I want to be able to do that as quickly and efficiently as possible to kind of to get us to that point and not spend too much time focusing on the actual exploitation itself. All right, so I'm going to start up the PostgreSQL database, and then combine that with the step to start up the msfconsole, and we should be this should be booting up the Metasploit framework for us. All right. All right, so let's see, let's call this let's see, workspace dash, and we'll call this sysenum, since that's what we're going to be doing here. All right, and then of course I'm going to set our target host as a global parameter, so I don't have to continue to configure that as I go from module to module here within the Metasploit framework. All right, and then let's run an nmap scan, and I'm going to run that within the Metasploit framework so it can save the output of that within the database in case for any reason I need to query that later on. And so I'm going to be looking for, when I run this nmap scan, I'm going to be conducting some active recon to do some initial enumeration of our target host to find out what ports are open, to see if they're running their default protocols, and then what services may be available, and find out the versions of all those things. And that's going to help for me to determine what potential vulnerabilities those things may have that I can then exploit and search for an exploitation module here within Metasploit. All right, so let's run that. Well, that was pretty fast. So it looks like it's only one port that's actually open, and that's port 21, which is the default FTP port. And then it's running vsftpd 2.3.4, which I have exploited in a previous video, which always feel free to go back and watch that. All right, so I'm not going to spend too much time explaining this. I'm just going to jump right into searching for an exploitation module to exploit the vulnerability of this version of vsftpd. All right, so I want that backdoor command execution um, module here, because that, number one, it's the only exploit module available. The other one's an auxiliary module, and it's not running the exact version of the service that's running on this on this target host. All right, so um, module one actually matches exactly what I'm looking for here. So I'm gonna say use one, since that's the module ID. All right, and then I don't believe there's anything to configure, so I'm just going to go right into exploiting this. All right, we can see that I have root access right here where it says UID. All right, and this looks like it's going to throw me right into a shell, not a interpreter session, which is fine. Um, and from here, what I could do is I could upgrade my current session here to a interpreter session. So I'm gonna say background, yes. And in order to upgrade this to a interpreter session, I'm gonna say sessions dash u, lowercase u for upgrade, and then I'm gonna specify the session that I want to upgrade, and that is session one, since that's the only session that I'm running at the moment. All right. All right, so it looks like yep, I have a interpreter session here. So that opened up another session for me. So if I say sessions now, all right, we see two sessions. One is a command shell, the other one's an interpreter session. So I'm going to say sessions two, since that's the interpreter session. That's the session that I want to use. All right, now I have a interpreter session. All right, now it's time to get into the whole enumeration aspect of this. All right, so I'm gonna run the usual two enumeration commands here, and the first one is of course sysinfo, and that's going to get me to initially give me some basic system information on the target host, so I can see that it's running Debian 9.5 as far as the operating system, and it looks like its kernel is Linux 6.8.0-39- is running on a 64-bit architecture, and I'm running on a 32-bit Linux, 32-bit Meterpreter session here, which is no problem, since I don't really need anything higher to do the enumeration I'm going to be doing here. All right, and so the next command I'm going to say is get UID, just to see what account I'm logged in as, and to get a general feel for the permissions that I may have. So I'm root, all right, and we saw that as in the background while Meterpreter was initially, what excuse me, not Meterpreter, but initially when we were running that exploit, we saw that running in the background. That UID showed that I had root. It's granting me root access, all right, which is great. So meaning I could pretty much run any command here that I want to run. All right, so for the next set, I'm going to actually have to use execute the shell here, and actually go into the command line of the Linux machine. So let's execute that. All right, so it looks like I'm in. So I want to create a bash session for myself. All right, just so we can more easily run some commands here. So I'm gonna say bin bash and then dash I for interface. All right, now I have a bash session, and we can see that I am indeed root user. All right, so um, and then anytime I want to, you could just confirm that, even though we see that, I could just say, well, I could let me see, see, I think that's Windows. Oh no, he went with my. So I'm root. All right. So anytime we want to find that out. So let's switch. Let's say if I want to change to the root directory here. All right. Say cd/root. All right. I'm back into the root directory. And if I want to just verify that I'm in the root directory, I say pwd. All right. And that's going to tell me what directory that I'm in. All right. So let's say that I wanted to get some information on the CPU of this machine. All right. So in order to view the CPU information, there we go. Okay, so I would say ls for list and then CPU, all together in one command. All right, and we can see the CPU information here. All right, so again, if I'm going for, let's say, a more technical exploit, let's say that I wanted to somehow target something as technical as the CPU here is, or let's say I want to do, I don't know, some type of timing attack based upon um, uh, when and how things run. This type of information would be relevant. All right, so I could see how the machine here computes, and and get some idea as far as what different technical specifications I may want to use to my advantage in terms of exploitation or privilege escalation. All right, so in this case I wouldn't really need to escalate my privileges anymore since I'm root user, but in other cases this may be relevant as far as that, again, or just discovering another attack vector based upon these specifications here in terms of the CPU. All right, so let's say that I want to display how much RAM is being used. All right, so this may or may not work, but I'm gonna say free dash H, and no, so it doesn't come back with anything. But usually that is the command that you run if you want to be able to display how much RAM is being used on the machine. Again, that's something that an attack vector that you could potentially use. Is more of your technical type of attack vector that you can take advantage of, but that is the usual command that you would be able to run to be able to see that RAM information. Just unfortunately, it's just not available to me on this machine. All right, so let's say that I wanted to display a list of drives or disks connected to the system. All right, so that's going to be anything that's fixed or removable. And when I say fixed or removable, think connected hard drive versus USB stick. All right, so df dash h is gonna it's gonna give me that list. All right, so these are the different drives that are mounted. I don't necessarily see letters. All right, but these are the different drives that appear to be connected to our target host. All right, and let's say I wanted to get I want to get a display of the list of drives or disks, all right, in their specified formats. All right, I would say, let's see, say df dash ht ext4. All right, so it's basically it's coming back. There's no file systems process. So that was just an example of a type of format. But you would just put df dash ht and then whatever the format it is that you want to get a listing of, and it would give you a list of disk drives in that particular format. Let's say that um, if I wanted to use like an alternative method to list the drives or disks, all right, and by specifying a particular drive name. So for example, all right, let's say I'm gonna say list blk, and then I'm gonna pipe that and I'm gonna say grep. And so anywhere on this list that says SD, all right. So anywhere on this list where it's going to say SD, it's going to return that particular drive to me. All right. And you see that we got two listings here, all right, particularly what we see right here. All right. So that's why if this list was a lot longer and I just wanted to see anything with a particular disk name and just wanted anything with that, that's how I specify what disk names or any sort of spelling any sort of spelling format. That's how I list that out. All right. Um, and then the last command that I'm going to show here is if I wanted to display, if I want to display, have a full list of all the packages that were installed here on the system. And when I say packages, I'm talking like software packages and any sort of firmware, things like that. All right. I would say dpkg -l. All right, and as you can see, we have a full list of not only the packages, the software packages, and different um, different software that's listed here on the system, but we can see the versions, and then we can also get an explanation for exactly what those are. So again, that as a if I'm an attacker or an ethical hacker here and I'm trying to further compromise this system, or I'm looking for a method to escalate my privileges, well, this is a gold mine for me, because again, I get to be able then to see the versions of the applications that are running on this system. So then search for version specific vulnerabilities with these applications. Excuse me. And then I have a better idea of, even if I don't recognize some of them, I have a better idea of, okay, what do these applications do? And I can simply read the descriptions. And again, I would, based on descriptions, it would still give me an idea of perhaps some ways that I can use these to my advantage, to ultimately get me close to my goal of whatever I'm looking to achieve as far as compromising this system. Okay, so those are just some basic system enumeration commands that we can run here on a compromised Linux host. All right, so just to give a brief overview of what some of those commands are, we came in here. Of course, we did our usual very high level info command using Meterpreter. Got some basic system information. We did the get UID to find out, to verify actually that I'm the root account, because we saw that I was granted root privileges upon executing the initial exploit module. All right, and then show how to enumerate CPU information. Attempted to show how to enumerate RAM information, but unfortunately, that command didn't work on this machine. All right, and then I showed how we can enumerate and get a full list of any drives or disks that are connected to the system, and then how we could then we wanted to reduce that list based on specified formats. How we could do that again. Um, didn't really work here, since I didn't find a one in this format that I specified on the command line, but still showed how we can do that. And then also showed an alternative methods of how we can list the drives, and then show and then be able to reduce that list to a particular name, or contains certain characters. So if we want to reduce that list to something very specific, it will only return to us what it is, exactly what it is we're looking for, by using that grep within the list blk command. And then lastly, I show how to list of the full list of application software packages on the target host, which not only gives us the name of those packages, but the version, the architecture that they're in, and the description of what it is that brief description of what it is that they do, which again is greatly helps as an attacker or ethical hacker in terms of looking for more vulnerabilities or more opportunity to um, to escalate their privileges or find another vulnerability to exploit as a means to creating another entry point into the system or even maintaining persistence within the system. Okay, so please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.